Hello, once again, welcome to another edition of the I Am Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merkzone, Mike Merkel.
Yes.
And, of course, the man, Kyle Budzinowski. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Rob?
I am doing fantastic. Now, once again, I would like to start off the show by congratulating Mike on becoming the first ever I'm Always Right 24/7 champion. I'd like to congratulate Kyle on his first victory. If you guys didn't see it, please tune into the last episode. I'd also like to congratulate myself for not only becoming the new I'm Always Right Sports Podcast champion, but also being the longest reigning champion, starting in at a total of 1 week. So you're welcome. Now, I bet you're all wondering why are Kyle and Michael not trying to attack me right now and trying to strangle me and hit me with cars or Nerf guns or whatever else we have to do. And the reason for that is simple. We've come to a gentleman's agreement that because of the sanctity of the show and we want to provide you guys with the best content possible, we are suspending the 24/7 rule temporarily while the show is being filmed/recorded for your viewing pleasure. So you are all welcome. If you'd like to write us a congratulatory thank you card to myself or any of these beautiful gentlemen here on the show, please do that at iarbroadcastmedia@gmail.com. All right, boys. Now, enough of that. Your reigning champion as decreed. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week, right? We got NBA Finals updates still. I want to talk about the New Japan Best of Super Juniors tournament, right? As well as Jon Moxley now officially in New Japan with his big victory a couple weeks ago. I want to talk about Lions minicamp, or a week ago, I guess. I want to talk about Lions minicamp, how that's going. I want to talk about the MLB draft and why no one watches it. And I also want to talk a little bit and get people a little bit more interested in the University of Michigan, this football team, and where they're going to be headed this upcoming season. So lots of good stuff to come after today. A lot of different angles, a lot of different viewpoints. So let's just jump right into it. Biggest topic, obviously, pretty much in the sports world right now, for the majority of America, the NBA Finals. As of this recording, it's going to be a 3-1 lead for the Raptors. Warriors are definitely on the ropes. Clay is hurt. Boogie's not 100%. Durant is out. Is Steph and this makeshift team that he's got around him right now going to be able to overcome this, or is this like like Monday night? It's going to be over, in 5. You know what I mean? Because I think that's the first question everyone's asking themselves, right? Is like, okay, they're down 3-1. This has never happened. What happens?
It's like, weirdly enough, I don't think they lose Game 5.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it goes past 6, meaning that they would have to win on the road.
Yeah.
How the schedule is set up, because it's not the 2-3-2 anymore.
Right.
It's a 2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah.
So it's set up weird where I think if the Warriors can pull the upset tonight, they probably win at home then, forcing the Game 7. Kind of like how the Cavs did.
Yeah,
when
right.
They were down 3-1.
Right.
Where it was like, going into this game, you're like, can they win it?
Geez,
and then they won Game 5, you're like, there's no way they lose Game 6.
Right.
They destroyed Game 6, and I was like, all right, now you're looking at Game 7.
Right.
It's almost the same situation, I feel like.
It is crazy. Kyle, same question to you, right? Do you, I mean, is this series over? Like, are we counting it? We're giving it to Toronto. A Canadian team is going to win the NBA Finals. Damn Canadians. But, I mean, is this it? Is Steph? I mean, because Steph, he put up 47 in Game 5, or Game 4. I'm sorry, and
Game 3.
Was it Game 3?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Game 3. And he's trying to carry the team on his back. He doesn't have that other guy to kind of help him out here. Clearly, I think he's proven though that he is the guy for Golden State at the end of the day. Yeah. I know Mike, me and you talked about that a couple days ago.
We did.
But. I mean, is this it? Is this it for Golden State? Like, I mean, put the nail in the coffin, they're done? Or are you still a little bit on the hope train?
I mean, I don't hope that...
You had this in 5, so...
I did. But I'm pretty sure if they... I don't see it going past 6. If Kevin Durant comes back in the next game... And I could see it going to 7, and if it goes to 7... I could see it going either way, but if Kevin Durant doesn't play Game 5, which there is some breaking news that there's little frustrations in the locker room that he's purposely not playing.
And I want to talk about that in a second for sure, because, I mean, you look at this and you go, okay, we look at where they're at, right? We look at this team, they cruise past Portland, no problem, right, without him. And now you go down 1-0. All right, let's see. They steal Game 2 in Toronto, and then now they're down. They lose their first game at home. If that itself right there was not the warning, like, hey, I probably need to start playing now. Are you? I know you're not a Warriors fan. I know you're not really a Warriors fan. But if you were a Warriors fan, how pissed are you that Kevin Durant's not playing right now? Because this is the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is no bigger platform than this.
Yeah. Well, just imagine if you go into the Super Bowl and Brady's like,
I don't know.
I got those 9 stitches. I don't think I can throw the football. Like, I'm out of it. Like,
exactly.
You're just like, okay, you're not watching it probably anymore.
Right.
Like, at this point, I think that he almost gets a pass for it, and he shouldn't. Yeah. Because if you look at all the other stars in the league, like a LeBron, or like, just imagine if LeBron missed one game.
Oh, I know.
Just one game.
I know.
Not a whole series. And that literally missed one game.
Well, imagine if Kawhi, same thing, right? Kawhi got slaughtered by San Antonio's media because he didn't play the whole season because he was hurt, right? Like, why isn't he playing? He doesn't want to be here. He's gone. Whatever. Yeah. But like, he was getting just reamed. Mm-hmm. For a guy who's never said anything about anything for years.
Yeah.
And now Durant, what? Just because he's on the Warriors? Is that why? Is it because they have other guys there that it's just like he's getting this? Because you're right, he's totally getting a pass. Mm-hmm. It's a calf injury. Now, granted, I get it. It affects your ability to jump, be explosive. I get that. It doesn't affect your ability to shoot the damn ball. I'm sorry. You've got longer arms than anybody I've ever seen. Shoot the damn basketball, okay? Like, I don't understand how this is completely going past people where they're just looking at this downfall of the Warriors, but in reality it's like you're quote-unquote the best player in the world that everyone seems to want to get on this bandwagon and say Durant has somehow surpassed LeBron. LeBron wouldn't be doing this. And I'm not even a LeBron guy, and I can be fully, he ain't doing this. Kobe wouldn't do this. Jordan wouldn't do this. You know what I mean? The greatest of the great ain't missing finals games unless they're like, torn ACL, something catastrophic, they can't run. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll ask you the same question. Why is he getting a pass? Should he be playing, right? What's his major malfunction? Or is he so checked out where he just wants to go, all right, I'm going to New York, I'm going to Brooklyn, where the hell I'm going, and I'm just done. It doesn't matter, whether or not I play.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant, he easily gets a pass with Steph Curry on the team. If he's not playing Steph Curry, they're just going to cater to Steph Curry. But think about it. Last year, LeBron played basically with a broken hand in the finals. And we didn't even know until the end. He didn't tell anybody.
Right.
Until after the finals, we found out he had this broken hand that he played the finals, so even though they got demolished, they got swept.
Yeah.
So now Kevin Durant's not playing. We know that he's basically gone after the season.
Yep.
He sold his house in California and stuff. And now he's even though it's like the finals, you should be playing. I assume he'd want to win a ring.
Right.
But if he wants to sit out, like he's gonna get that pass. But I think we should the media should really come out and be like, this should affect his legacy. You want to say he's the best.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then you don't play. Even if you
I think you can.
For sure.
I think people that are big Kevin Durant fans though could turn the narrative into. Like down the line, you can go. He didn't lose that finals because he didn't play.
That's bullcrap. That's absolute bullcrap. That is absolutely bullcrap because.
But you know what I mean, though. Like,
same thing. They could do that with LeBron. Right? LeBron missed finals because he had broken hand, broken shoulder.
Like if LeBron, say after game 1, he broke his hand. He was like, I can't shoot, I can't play because I had my hands So he missed that whole finals. Yeah. The narrative.
He still loses that finals.
He loses it, but some people could flip the narrative
and say, well, he didn't really
play. He only played one game. Yeah. Like Kyrie in that first one. They go, he didn't really lose that one because he didn't play in that one.
Right, no, that's bullcrap. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, right, you're supposed to be one of the top 5 players ever, one of the greatest shooters of all time. You need to be on the damn court. I'm sorry. It doesn't. And if you're a Knicks fan, right, or a Brooklyn fan, or a Clippers fan, or anybody who all these teams are kind of speculating to make runs at this guy, right? Mm-hmm. How nervous are you now that this guy, he's already won championships now, right? So theoretically, he's got quote-unquote nothing to play for. He's already proved it, right? But how nervous are you now? You're going to go give a max contract to a guy who is unwilling to go out there and play. I get it. He's hurt. He's not 100%. But an 80% Kevin Durant is better than 100% Kyle Lowry. I'm sorry. It is. So you mean to tell me that on the biggest of stages, for the most important thing you've ever played for in your life, the whole reason why you're a basketball player is to be an NBA champion, that this is not enough to get you on the court for 20 minutes a game, 25 minutes a game? You mean to tell me that I'm going to go spend max money on a guy where if he's not 100% in the most important series of the year, I can't get him off the bench? That's got to scare me if I'm a fan of the Knicks, right? Now, I get it. You haven't won anything in forever. You're just clamoring for any sort of hope. I understand. But the fact that this guy right now is basically, no one's talking about it. No one is saying, why isn't he playing? Nobody's saying that everyone's he's just hurt, he's got the calf, And I don't know if it's because of the Warriors downplaying the injury originally or whatever, but I just find it inexcusable. The fact that he has not played, that he doesn't even look like he's... DeMarcus Cousins tore stuff. He tore things in his leg, and he's still going out there and giving it what he can. Effective or not, it's not the point. I'd rather at least be able to see him out there go, you know what? They're trying. They gave it everything they could. It's just Toronto's year.
Yeah. It's funny. It's because the injury's so undisclosed.
I know.
That, no one really... they were like, oh, he, pulled something.
It's like with the Stafford back injury. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's, questionable to play. And you're like, where the hell did this come from? I thought he was fine.
Yeah, right. Everyone's just like, he, pulled something or whatever, and then all of a sudden it turns into he hasn't played in a month.
Right.
And you're like, where did that injury come from?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, how severe could this have been? Before you tell me that it's fine and it's just a calf, he's going to be out for a couple games. He was out for the whole conference finals. He's out for the whole finals? You got to get surgery on this thing? What the... come on. You know what I mean? The last question I want to ask on this topic, how if they lose this series, right? And statistically, it's not looking good. But so Warriors lose this series. How much of a dent does this put into this team's legacy? And when I say this team, I mean the core people, right? Steph, Clay, Draymond, even Kerr to a certain extent, right? Because the argument has always been for the longest time with the LeBron-Michael argument, right? That LeBron, lost several finals, you know what I mean? And so, due to one reason or another. But now, it's to the point where, okay, now Steph, they're going to lose their second championship, theoretically, right? Say they do, okay. You can't put them now on that greatest pedestal if you're going with the Michael Jordan argument, number one. And two, right, does this put a dent in, quote-unquote, the greatest team ever? Because, everyone says this is the greatest team ever assembled, right? That was part of it. How can anybody overcome this massive thing? So when the Cavs did it, it was a big deal. But now if Toronto does it, injuries, aside, right? They're still, quote-unquote, the greatest team ever. How big of a dent does that put into this team's legacy and to the star players on there? You know what I mean? Because right now, I don't think that Cavs loss reflects nearly as bad as it should on their resume right now. I don't think it does. I think people will later on bring it up. But right now, I think people kind of forget a little bit that they lost that and they blew that lead. You know what I mean? So when they lose here, they lose in 5. That's not good. That's not,
Yeah. I'll attest to it's tough with all the injuries that they have to compare to any other team almost. Because you can't go, well, you're comparing them to the Jordan's Bulls. Yeah. Well, Jordan's Bulls were never hurt. Right. They always were 100%. If Jordan played a finals without Scottie and without Dennis Rodman and stuff, are they winning in 5? Probably not. They play that Utah Jazz team. He might lose that series if he loses 5 of his starters with him or whatever.
Right.
So, injuries aside, I don't think it impacts that much to them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
With the injuries they have, they've won 3 out of 5 now, it would be, or whatever.
Right.
And the one that they lost beforehand was the Cavs in one of the best series that lasted 15 years.
For sure, no doubt.
So, I don't have any problem. I think they're still one of the best teams ever, and I don't think it impacts it that much.
Okay, yeah. Kyle, same question to you. Does this impact their legacy at all? Some people would argue, say, okay, you lost 2. How great could you truly be if, you're losing to 2 teams that theoretically do not have as much talent as you do?
I think that it kind of ends the narrative they're the best team ever. I think they're considered one of the best teams, a group of the best teams ever. I don't think they're considered the best team of all time if they lose the series. And for those players individually, I think Steph Curry is always going to be thought of as one of the greatest ever, best shooters ever. Kevin Durant, that kind of depends on what happens in the future if he leaves, where he goes.
Yeah.
But just for the team, I think the dynasty will die off. I don't think they'll be going to that many finals anymore if they lose Kevin Durant. But I think they'll still be I don't think overall they'll be hurt that bad. They'll just be that they're one of the greatest of all time.
Well, you also look at it. They played the Cavs 4 times, and those Cavs teams suck.
Yeah, I know.
You got a lucky break the first year because Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. You lost the second year.
Right.
And then the third year you had Kevin Durant and the teams got worse and worse as it went on.
Well, yeah, when you have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in their primes.
Yeah, and then you're looking at LeBron who's getting older
and Clay,
nobody.
Yeah,
so you're looking at that and you're I guess you could look at it as were they really that good, or did they just get super lucky that the finals teams they played were easy?
Mm-hmm.
Because you also look at like Jordan's teams in the finals, getting to the finals was tough. Like the Warriors getting to the finals, they have to get through Houston and all these good teams. But then you sit in the finals and you're playing like the Lakers and you're playing like the Jazz, and you're like, it's not as much competition. That's also a way to look at it.
That Jazz team, I mean, you did have 2 Hall of Famers on that Jazz team.
You did.
John Stockton and Karl Malone. Like, let's not ship that in. They're not playing. It's not LeBron and Drew Gooden as the next player. It's not like the first LeBron series when he gets San Antonio. So I'm taking a little bit, like, I mean, let's not completely discount it. But I agree with you.
Out of the 6, I would say
for
4 of them were like...
For sure. Yeah, like old Lakers, right? You're playing, bad, whatever. I'm with you for sure. Okay. We're interesting to see. I hope that the series maybe, where we're talking about, oh my gosh, the Warriors made a great comeback, or we're tied, we're going to Game 7. Something next week, but I highly doubt it. But, all right. So, I want to talk a little bit, too, now. I want to talk about the Best of Super Juniors tournament for New Japan. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do, especially the finals, Will Ospreay and Shingo. That was a hell of a contest. Mike, I'm going to talk to you here about this. You're a big Ospreay fan. He wins the BOSJ for the second time. I just want to ask you this. Is he being held down by winning this again? And now, after this, coming out of this, he just became the junior heavyweight champion. Is this kind of like delaying something? Because I feel like he was never openweight champion. He's already announced he's going to become a heavyweight. Mm-hmm. What is this? Is this like an intermediate thing to prepare somebody else to take the role of like King of the Juniors type of thing? I just didn't make a lot of sense to me to see him, of all people, win that. Not because of his talent, but just about where his trajectory
I think it's going to be one of those things where he's like the man of the supers. Mm-hmm. And I think within the next coming month or two, someone like a Shingo are just going to beat him straight out for it. And then that's going to be like oh man, you took him down. It's like when he beat Kushida.
Right.
And then he's like, I just topped the juniors now. Kushida was like the king of the juniors for 5 years.
Right.
Whoever eventually takes down Ospreay, it's set up to like, man, you just beat Ospreay. Like, you're like the man now.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. So I don't think he's really like being brought down. Mm-hmm. You can't look at it. I mean, you win the whole tournament and then you're the champion now.
Right.
You can't really look at it as like a demotion almost.
Yeah.
Because you are a champion. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just planning for somebody else to come up.
Right.
So.
Well, because like Shingo's already he's trying to enter the G1 now too. So like, there's a lot of moving pieces there with all that. You know what I mean? And then I also want to talk a little bit too about Jon Moxley. Now at the tournament final, became the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, defeating Juice Robinson, formerly known as CJ Parker for you NXT fans out there, in a pretty dominating fashion. Right. I don't think it was necessarily unexpected that he wins the title, right? I don't think anybody was like, wow, kind of knew going in. But what I do want to ask you, though, is what is his ceiling? He's obviously doing the joint thing with AEW as well, right? He just entered the G1 as well, John is, so he's going to be in the G1 Climax tournament, so that's a big name in there. Yeah. Where we thought, going into this year, we thought, man, this G1 is going to be rough, but they're really trying to fortify with some younger or some different talent. What is his ceiling, though, right? What is his ceiling, especially in Japan, because of the AEW relationship where he's not going to be full-time in Japan? So is the U.S. title kind of his max? Do you see him becoming heavyweight champion? I don't see him winning the G1. That's not going to happen, I don't think
so. But, because when AEW starts up, you can't win the G1 unless you lose it. The opportunity of the G1 before AEW starts.
Correct.
Because I think when AEW starts, he can't be in Japan anymore.
Right. So that's kind of where I'm like, it's a little confusing, right? So that's why you go, okay, what do you think his ceiling is? Is it here? Is it just kind of being a guy who's going to, be able to bring up some of these younger guys to have great matches with and kind of at the end put them over and just, because he's a name? Or what's his ceiling? Because I don't see him becoming heavyweight champion there. I don't know what I mean? Like, is he just going to be like Jericho-esque?
I mean, I think maybe he'll be like he'll do what like John Cena does to the U.S. title, where he'll just go, who wants a title shot? And then you're going to get this like weird no name, maybe even Ospreay answers the challenge or something.
Right.
Yeah, like Ospreay or Shingo, and you get some of these guys who are just like,
trying to get up into that heavyweight division.
Yeah, and they're like fighting them and stuff, and then someone like maybe an Ospreay beats him for it later down the line, and then that's where he's just he's going over basically.
Right. Yeah.
He's letting people go over, and he's just kind of that guy to lead the way for all these guys to come up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that when you look at, I think that's a great comparison though with Cena and him, right? He's a name, people will know who he is, right? He's coming in. It's kind of like a rebirth sort of thing for him as a character. Being able to, elevate other guys on this way where you're kind of trying to elevate yourself at the same time, where he's come out and said where he's like, I just want to have good matches. I just want to be there. I want to have great matches. I want to, make a difference. I want to be able to be myself again. Those kinds of things you really, are exciting to hear. I think New Japan has done a fantastic job of setting some of these guys up and elevating new talent. Ibushi winning the Intercontinental. I know he just lost it back to Naito, but getting that big singles win that he's never had before, I think that was huge. I think guys like Ospreay, Shingo, now Moxley, even Juice Robinson to a certain extent, are really being put into positions to succeed. Jay White obviously is the new guy. He's going to be the new leader. Obviously, you still have Okada, you have Tanahashi, and using Jericho too. I think to the best that they have him for the short amount of time that they have him, setting up all these dream matches with Okada, with Kenny, now with Tanahashi. There's a lot of things where you go, okay, they're doing a really nice job of backfilling the loss of Kenny, backfilling the loss of the Bucks and these guys that were really big draws for them, and being able to go, okay, yeah, we understand, we lost the Elite, but here's what we do have, right? And we have up-and-coming talent. We have great talent here who's willing to come in, bust their ass, and you still have staples, obviously, the Okadas and what have you. So I think they've done a fantastic job. I'm really looking forward to seeing who else is in the G1. I'm sure we'll talk about that on another episode. But hell of a time. Like I said, go back if you haven't. Please go watch the Best of Super Juniors on New Japan World. It's fantastic. The whole tournament as a whole was really, really good, really well done. Some surprises in there. Jon Moxley winning the U.S. title is fantastic. And go watch Dominion, which was just on, as of this recording, like this morning at like 3 a.m. is when that went live. So missing a lot of great content there if you are not already a fan. All right, that's going to be it for part 1 of episode 28. After the break, we're going to talk Lions minicamp, some Tease Tabor action. Jermaine Kearse is now a Lion. I want to talk some MLB draft. And we're going to talk some Michigan football as well to see what the hell this new offense is going to look like. All that and more after the break. Stick around.
This is your 24/7 I'm Always Right Sports Podcast champion, the mouth of Michigan himself, Rob Mendeca, hijacking this ad in the middle of the show just to remind you once again that we are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, we are on Google Play Music. Where else do you want to hear this beautiful voice and see this beautiful mug? That's right, even on YouTube. Subscribe to the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast channel every single week live, Monday, 7 a.m. Be there.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of episode 28 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Let's talk Lions minicamp. They're in phase 3, 4, 9, whatever they're in, whatever Patricia tells me they're in. A couple things, there's just a couple notes, right? Lions signed Jermaine Kearse, former Seahawk, former Jet, this past week. Just overall, Kyle, I'll start with you. Like the move, he was with Darrell Bevell in Seattle, knows the offense, hopefully. Thoughts on him coming in? Does it even do anything for you on your radar at all? Does it move the needle?
Not at all. No, I think I've heard.
It's not Jared Cook, so he doesn't care.
One day. When the Lion, I mean, he's a Lion. I'll be like, I told you so.
Oh my gosh,
he will never be a Lion.
He will. Number 1 free agent acquisition. Jared
Cook,
39-year-old tight end.
Yeah.
Not Trey Flowers. No. Who would want him?
No. Not Trey Flowers. No. But anyway, so all right. So I mean, nothing doesn't move the needle for Kyle whatsoever. Clearly, by that. Mike, same question to you. Does it matter at all? Do you care? Is it an indictment on what they're trying to do at all? Is it just kind of like a depth signing? Like who the hell cares?
I mean, he's a good substitute for some players.
Yeah.
So
well, I think he set. Well, that's the thing too. I think he did set up. He set career numbers in 2017 for receptions and yards with the Jets. Right. I think he had 60 or 70 receptions for 800 yards receiving. Last year was a little bit more of a down year. But with Darnold and everything, you expect the passing offense to kind of take a dip with a rookie, but I do think that with him coming in, now you look at this receiving core, you got Galladay, you got Jones, you got Amendola, you got Jesse James, and Hawkinson at tight end now. You got him coming in. You have all of a sudden it goes from a pretty sparse looking, cupboard of weapons to, okay, maybe we have a little something, even if he's your number 4, right? I'm a lot more comfortable with Jermaine Kearse being my number 4 receiver than name a guy. You know what I mean? Anybody on their current route, Andy Jones. You know what I mean? Like
Brandon Powell.
Brandon Powell. Yeah, right. But like, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Like to me, it looks like they're in a mode here where they need to kind of win some games. So if they have an injury in the wide receiver depth, I don't need Brandon Powell as one of my starting wide receivers. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be a thing.
I'm okay with it, but that's fine.
I know. You're okay with it. I'm not. So, damn it. But so I think it's a nice depth move, right? I think if nothing else, he's going to help progress the offense because he knows it already, which is always helpful, especially in the learning process. And he's getting paid like $1 million, so I'm not mad about it. I do want to talk about somebody who's been highly controversial, somebody who's been basically the ire of Lions fans for the past 2 seasons. Is Teez Tabor. So now he's been basically up and down in minicamp. Some days he's got great days, other days he looks terrible. 2 questions for you, Kyle. I'll start with you. Number 1, does he make the team? Right? They signed Justin Coleman. You've got Rashaan Melvin. You've got Diggs. You've got Will Harris. You've got that Amani Oruwariye from Penn State that they drafted, along with Slay still. Lots of defensive backs there. Is he the odd man out? And if he does make the team, is this the year he finally makes a transition to where he's actually going to be a contributor and not a liability?
Okay. So I'm gonna be brutally honest.
Oh boy.
Okay. I have no idea why he'd make it or why he wouldn't make it. But I'm saying I'm gonna say he won't. But if he does, he's gonna have a career year.
He's gonna have a career year. So let's just put this in perspective.
So he's gonna have 1 interception?
No, I don't even think he needs that. Nevin Lawson still doesn't even have an interception to his name, which is funny. But all Teez Tabor has to do is not allow a perfect quarterback rating. That's all he has to do to have a career year. That's the bar. So you're really knocking home with some bold takes here. Okay, back to somebody else. Mike, same question to you. Does he make the team?
No.
No, he doesn't make the team straight up. You don't think he does?
I think with our corner depth that we have, I don't think we really need him. I'll be honest with you. No.
No, the sad part is, I think you're right, unfortunately. Unless he does something in the preseason where you're just like, wow, like he just really shut it down, balls out. But like, I think you're right though. I think the problem is twofold. Number 1, I do think the speed thing is a problem. Yeah. I don't think he's able to physically do what he did at Florida, right, which was really the bump and run and kind of keep people in front of him. I do think he still has tremendous ball skills though.
Where would you play him?
Right, you have to play him. Yeah, you have to play him on the outside.
Slay's your starter. Yeah. Coleman's your inside guy.
Right, exactly.
So you have your number 2. I like the guy from Penn State better.
Yeah.
You picked up that one dude.
Yeah, Rashaan Melvin.
Rashaan Melvin. I like him better in free agency.
Right.
So there's already 2 guys right there I'd rather have in the number 2 spot over him. So I feel there's almost no need for him.
Right, and I think that the Oruwariye pick, if you are a Teez Tabor fan, which there's bound to be one of you out there, that Oruwariye kind of does a similar thing to what Tabor does, right? Likes to play man-to-man, likes to play up a little bit. He's a physical guy, right? The big thing about Tabor coming out of college was that, he's a playmaker, right? That was a big thing. He had good ball skills. He was able to make big plays, interceptions, big hits, that kind of thing. But he was always in good, set up well to do that. Mm-hmm. Where in the NFL, if you're not able to keep pace, if nothing else, it's a rough go. I hope he makes it. From a Lions perspective, he's cheap, and if he can play well, and you don't got to worry about Rashaan Melvin being your second corner or another rookie coming in and filling that spot, and he can kind of step in and be a guy that is solid for you, awesome. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think as we go through the preseason, we're going to look, but I'm kind of in agreement with you, just based off of everything. The up and down, it's either you need to be up the entire way at this point, or you're not really going to be here. So, which is unfortunate. Last thing I want to kind of talk about is, with minicamp coming up, there's some rumors that the Lions may or may not be on Hard Knocks. We don't have any confirmation on that, so when we know, you'll know. But what is the one thing that you want to hear coming out of minicamp, right? Like, what's one thing? Like, I know they're just in shorts, right? There's not a lot of contact. So, like Jelani Tavai, for instance, you're not gonna know if he's been killing it, in tackling drills because he can't hit right now. Mm-hmm. But there are things like, okay, Odell Beckham didn't show up to practice for the first 3 weeks, right? Like right now, Snacks and Slay are not at minicamp, right? What is one thing that you as a fan, you want to hear, you want to get some report on where you're like, yes, that's good news. I'm glad we're hearing. So I know you don't read a lot into it, but it's nice every once in a while to get a little bit of reassurance. Like, okay, they're starting to see something to come together. Whether it's a play set where it's like, oh man, Kerryon Johnson looks amazing, right? Or, Stafford hasn't, they haven't had a missed pass in, 4 days.
I was saying, that's what I want to hear is Stafford's
back.
Yeah. Progression from last year.
Right.
Because you look at last year and he was not very good last year, unfortunately.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to hear a lot of, hey, Stafford's like not gonna suck this year.
This offense.
Yeah, and I also hope that we hear a lot of good stuff from the defensive backs because I think that's probably our weak point for the most part is our defensive backs.
For sure.
So I want to see like our starting lineup. I want to see them. Like, I want to hear a lot of good things of, wow, we're ball hawking really well, and we're, you know, getting interceptions, and we're reading defenses or offenses and whatever. I want to hear all that good stuff, so those are the two big things. If I don't hear either one of those, I'll be very upset.
Right. Kyle, same question to you, right? What is one thing, what's a storyline, what's a theme that you want to keep hearing out of Lions minicamp? You know, Lions waiting for Jared Cook to get cut so they can sign him for a local fan, you know? But, I mean, what's a thing, you know, I think the Stafford thing makes a great point, right, is understanding this new offense, the defense taking the big step forward, because the defense got to carry this team, the amount of money invested in there, right? Like, maybe is there a guy that you want to hear good things about, whether it's Hawkinson or, you know, Jesse James or whoever, like, is there somebody in particular you want to hear about or a storyline? Just give me something that's going to make me feel warm and fuzzy as a Lions fan.
Didn't we get a new OC?
Yeah, hi, welcome back.
That's what I thought. I would make sure.
Why is he on the show? I swear to God. Sometimes I wonder.
You know, on the basketball analysis. And I would pay attention.
That's true.
Michigan football.
We pay him to talk basketball.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's where we make the big bucks.
4 strawberries.
But
we bought a Chipotle today.
That's not gonna be good later. Good thing you didn't eat.
Focus. Anyway, as you're saying,
I would love to see the Stafford, the whole offense in general, understand the offense very well. I'd love to hear a lot of good things from that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a lot of money invested in the defense, like you said, but overall, if we have the offense put together, I feel like we actually could do something very well this year.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see, too. I think we're going to hear a little bit more of that when training camp comes along, when we get the pads on. You know, being able to, you know, have some contact, being able to allowing, you know, like there's actually going to be like, you know, some 7-on-7, some stuff like that where you see a little bit more, right? You see some of this happen, especially in the first couple of preseason games where I'll be very concerned if, like last year in the preseason, we come out and we just look like dog crap like we did last year, where you're like, before you kind of put it in the back of your mind, like, it's fine, it's preseason, they're going to get, and then we go on Monday night and crap ourselves in live television. Whereas this year we come out and, you know, they look more confident, they look more comfortable, right? You know, it's not necessarily winning the game, but it looks like, okay, we don't look like we don't know what the hell we're doing out there. You know what I mean? So it's got lots of good stuff to look forward to. I'm very interested to see, you know, I hope they are on Hard Knocks. That'd be awesome if they're on Hard Knocks. Then we could do that every week. Do like a Hard Knock recap, you know?
We could.
No?
I mean, really? I don't watch Hard Knocks, and I don't really like Hard Knocks.
Really?
No.
Did you like the All or Nothing special on Amazon Prime? You ever watched that? I'll get you my Amazon Prime account so you can listen to it. Or watch it. It's pretty cool. Like, it's like way more in depth. It goes to the whole season too. Not just
really?
Camp. Yeah, every game.
I'm just so not interested.
Yeah.
Like they did Cleveland last year.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who really cares?
I just love the clip on Hard Knocks of when other coaches are bringing up issues to Hugh Jackson, and he goes, "Listen, I get it when I was in your seat, but now I'm in this seat, and like, I don't care." That's basically what he does, and everyone's just like, that was even like his OC is just kind of like, we have so much to do, and he's like, "Hey man, I hear you, friend. I hear you. Thanks for that suggestion. Thanks for putting in that suggestion box." And then he completely disregards it.
I think if I was a head coach, I'd have a suggestion box.
Yeah,
just like,
for sure.
Just throw it in the suggestion box.
It's funny.
Want to change the offense? Just throw it in the suggestion box.
Yeah, he's so terrible. I don't know how the guy keeps getting drafted. But all right, let's talk now. I want to talk about the Major League Baseball draft. Okay, I'm not going to talk about players because these guys are either coming out of college or sometimes even coming out of high school in Tiger's case. So no one's going to hear about these guys for the next 4 or 5 years. But what I do want to ask you is, number one, did you watch it? And two, why or why not? Because, and I asked this question ironically, because I know both your answers already, and if you say the other one, I'm going to smack you. But, I mean, because some people do, so I'm going to go with no for both of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither one of you guys watched it, right?
I do know that.
Right, I know, right?
I didn't know I had a draft.
That's terrible. We're so bad at this job. But, okay, and here's the reason why I asked this, though, is that the NFL draft consumes America as soon as Super Bowl ends, right? Like, that's all it's about, right?
Yeah.
It's free agency and then the draft, right? Every team except for the Patriots pretty much care about, you know, both of those things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, because of that, you know, it takes a lot of, there's a lot of media about it. There's like, I mean, we watch people work out, for goodness sakes, on television for 3 days and talk about it. So because of that, and you look at baseball, And pretty much every other sport, even basketball to a certain degree, after the first 5 picks, nobody cares about the NBA draft. You know what I mean? So, why is it? Is it just the number of rounds? Is it just because football is king? Why does nobody watch this, right? Is it because rookies make more of an impact in the NFL than they do in other sports where they're in there and they're already... Sometimes if you're high enough, you should be a starter like day one. You know what I mean? Like, give me a reason why no one watches these other drafts. Not just baseball, but everybody. And, it's 40 rounds. I get it. It's boring. But, the NFL draft used to be 14.
We'll go through each one. Yeah. First, they all have lotteries, but the NFL. That's one reason. I hate the lottery.
Yeah, that's
But we already talked about that.
I hate that.
Basketball, it's because it's a star-driven league, and after Zion gets picked and Ja Morant gets picked, and maybe to a certain extent RJ Barrett gets picked, no one else can make an immediate impact to win a championship.
Crapshoot after that, for sure. No doubt.
That's the reason why. That's why, for basketball standpoint, the Pistons pick 15. Anyone we get at 15 can improve the team that much to win us through the first round playoff game.
Right. No doubt, for sure.
Baseball.
Win a playoff game.
Yeah.
A playoff game.
A playoff game.
That was the bar, and we still managed to go underneath it.
Baseball, since we're talking about baseball now, it goes 40 rounds, and you don't see any of the people that we draft for 6 years. So, you draft somebody, and you go, hey, remember that guy that we drafted 8 years ago? Yeah, he's playing.
He's finally here.
He's finally here.
Right? Yeah.
So, that's also a reason why. Because in the NFL, you look at, Hawkinson gets drafted. He's going to be there first day. You're going to be like, I remember when we drafted him. Right. Are you going to remember 8 years ago when we drafted Peyton Mize and now he's finally going to play for us?
Right, exactly. No. He might play this year, though. Have you ever seen Casey Mize's numbers in AAA? He's been ridiculous, dude. He's 5-0 with a 1.2 ERA. Yeah. He's killing it right now.
Oh, I know.
It's actually quite phenomenal, actually. Okay. But same question for you, Kyle, right? Why don't you watch any of this stuff? Is there any specific reason why besides the fact that you're a useless piece of crap?
There's drafts, so.
Who's
He's I don't even know how baseball works.
I played baseball 8 years ago, but who's I'm gonna go home and watch 40 rounds of the MLB draft.
It's not all in one day.
Either. Well, I know it's not all day, but watch all 40 rounds. Who's first of all, especially
listen though, if the NFL had 14 round draft, would you still watch?
And not after the first couple rounds.
So you're in the minority though. In all honesty, right?
Yeah.
When the NFL used to have 14 or 15 or 17 rounds, whatever it used to be, right? Everybody would watch. It would be on TV all day.
I watched this year. I watched the 7th round.
Yeah,
because I was intrigued in who's getting drafted in the 7th round.
For sure.
Now MLB, I don't even care who gets drafted in the first round.
I care who the Lions will pick in whatever round, But in general, no, we'll watch it.
But what I am saying though is that people as a whole, right? They care. They will watch day 1. Day 2, day 3 of the NFL draft. People are going to watch the NBA draft, even though it's only 2 rounds. They're going to watch that, In baseball, even diehard baseball fans don't watch the baseball draft. You know what I mean?
Okay, anyway, make your point.
Yeah.
Anyway, and why would I ever care about a dude who's coming out of high school in Wyoming that I'm not going to see for 10 years, and he's finally going to show up 30 years old, 30-year-old in the MLB? I don't care.
He speaks for America. He speaks for America.
I do.
Is what he does.
I speak the truth.
He speaks for America. And you're not wrong. It's just something I always like to pose because, you see all the writers on Twitter and everything like that, wow, Tiger's got the best pure hitter in the draft this year coming out of high school. That was the thing about their guy, right? They picked 5th overall, and you go, cool, and he's 18 and whatever. You know what I mean? So I think it's just hard, but at the same time, it's always interesting because there's that one person. You always know one guy. You're like, should we draft it? And the Titans, no, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? I think too, there's just so many prospects. There's so many minor leagues in baseball too. You have so many players that you have to keep tabs on. It's a lot of moving around there. So it's just interesting. I thought we'd talk about it just because if nothing else, it's funny.
40 rounds.
Yeah, 40 rounds. That's a lot. Can you imagine if you don't get drafted in 40 rounds though? You're probably not supposed to play baseball. Yeah. I'm just throwing that out there.
How many picks are per round? 30?
Yeah. Plus there's compensatory rounds too after that.
There's 1,200 people getting drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't get drafted out of 1,200, are you really?
Yeah, right.
Baseball?
Maybe you shouldn't play. Especially if you're in college. Maybe you just come play down the road here at the United Shore. Come here, come play at the United Shore League for the Unicorns.
I'd rather be a unicorn than a tiger. Not gonna lie.
That's true. Yeah, you got a chance of winning the game. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about for this week is I want to do a little Michigan football preview, specifically on the offense. Obviously, Michigan coming out. Their offense last year was terrible. It was extremely ineffective. Now Pep Hamilton is going to be the new head coach of a team in the XFL, so that'll be boring to watch. But in the meantime...
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, but see Pep Hamilton's team and his offense work in the professional league is going to be terrible. Anyway, okay, Josh Gaddis, though, the wide receivers coach slash co-offensive coordinator for Alabama, is the new offensive coordinator for Michigan. He's going to bring that more spread offense to kind of fit Shea Patterson a little bit more, right? Hopefully. Okay? I mean, is that going to help? Is that what's going to kind of be the key to kind of unlock this offense? Kyle, I guess I'll start with you because you're the Michigan guy. Mm-hmm. Is this going to help at all, or are we just going to be talking about how we lost Ohio State by 50 again next year?
I mean, we'll still lose them by 50 next year, but I think this is fantastic.
But it'll be 100-50 instead of 50-7.
But when Shea Patterson, who was built for this kind of offense, you have arguably one of the best duos, wide receiver Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones in college football that you did not use at all last year. Absolutely could have abused that power, but you didn't. You're going to have people slot new freshmen like Mike Stanchill and Giles Jackson, very quick slot players.
Yeah.
And whoever else, I don't know, people transferring every other week. But for the weapons you have, I've heard stuff like they're going to run so much no huddle. It's going to be such fast pace, and I just love it.
Yeah,
it's what they kind of needed after last year.
Well, I mean, clearly it's they're going with the way of college football is, right? I mean, Michigan was an outlier when it comes to how they ran their offense, right? Power football. And what's funny is that when Harbaugh first came here, I was like, yeah, power football. We're gonna do it the Michigan way. We're gonna run the ball 55 times and beat teams 10-3. And everyone was really excited about that until we play any other team who has any sort of offensive threat. And like, oh, we got to score them in 10 points. So, Mike, same question to you: Is this going to be a transformation? Is this going to help? And I also want to ask you, because I don't think you're as much on the Shea Patterson train as Kyle is sometimes. Is Shea Patterson even the guy? Like, should he be the starting quarterback? I mean, McCaffrey looked good last year in limited action. You know what I mean? You've got some quarterback depth there. I know Brandon Peters isn't going to be there, but still, did you see enough out of Shea last year to be like, yeah, let's go round 2 with this?
I would say yes, only because you never saw McCaffrey play like a whole game, and there was never a game plan for him. Like, he came in that Notre Dame game halfway through, and he was doing very well, but also there was like, the coach didn't have time to read and game plan for him.
For sure.
So he has a different set of skills, obviously.
Yes.
So it's hard to like in the NFL when like the backup comes in, you're like, ooh, I don't know what he's gonna do now.
Right.
So now it's harder to game plan for it.
Right.
So I think Shea Patterson can be the guy from what we saw of him. 10-2 last year, and he actually didn't play awfully. I don't think. I think he was good enough to win. If this offense could be just like Oregon's back in 2013, I will love it because I loved watching Oregon back then with Marcus Mariota at quarterback. Yeah. That was one of the most fun offenses I've ever watched.
Yeah, to watch, right?
Literally, like every 12 seconds, they were snapping
got to a
the ball.
national championship game and everything else, So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little more hesitant about it, I think, than most. I've been very negative about Michigan football for the past about year and a half now, and I think the reason behind that is, looking at Shea, I thought Shea was going to be the real deal coming in, right? I thought he had a great freshman year. Ole Miss comes in. I don't think he looked the part last year. I really don't. Now, is that some of that probably product of the offense? No doubt. So I'm willing to go in with an open mind. However, this offense better be explosive, and it better be something to where it quote-unquote fits his scheme. Because if by midway through this next season, if we're not putting up major numbers offensively, I'm done. I'm pulling the plug. I want somebody else in there. I don't care about the rest of the season because you're not going to win anything of any sort of substance anyway. Like going to a Quick Lane Bowl or the Orange Bowl or the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl or the Idaho Potato Bowl, whatever the hell else it is. If it's not a Big Ten championship, I don't care. If it's not going to the Final Four, I don't care anymore. You're at a point now, Harbaugh's been here long enough to where that needs to start becoming the thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying every year we need to be dominant and go 11-0 and make Final Four runs, but you need to at least be in the contention for a Big Ten championship every year and get there. You haven't even gotten there. We've yet to beat Ohio State. You beat Michigan State twice out of 4 years?
Garbage, Michigan State.
Yeah, no kidding. But you know what I mean? So with that being said, Michigan State's defense this year is going to be no joke. It's going to be no joke. If they can find any sort of quarterback play, that team's going to be good this year. So if you don't go in and you don't win these big rivalry games, you didn't beat Notre Dame, you're going to start playing Oklahoma pretty soon. These are big games you need to start winning.
Yeah, I think we benefit this year from having an easier early schedule too.
Yeah.
Because last year that's one thing about college football. I wish you had one preseason kind of game to kind of roll in with, because you just kind of walk in Notre Dame. That's like a death sentence almost to walk into a top team like that.
Yeah.
Playing someone like Tulane or whoever we play week 1 at home, it's like a nice almost like a preseason game.
For sure.
That actually counts. To
Appalachian State fans are like,
Play Middle Tennessee week 1.
Right.
Middle Tennessee week 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so we play Middle Tennessee week 1.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Point taken.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it.
But I've seen Michigan teams lose to Middle Tennessee, whatever the name is, before in basketball.
Oh.
Wow, taking shots.
That was a shot.
All right, good lord.
I'm just saying, Michigan could.
But you guys understand my point, though, right? It's like now it's to the point where when Harbaugh first got here, I went, okay, I'm with it, right? I'm fully on the train. To now, it's I need to see it now, right? Yeah. Before you could just tell me, oh, we look great. I'm like, yeah, we're looking great. Sounds good. Coaches say we're looking great. But now the proof needs to happen, right? And we need to kind of make the mark, our own. So hopefully that happens this year. All right, that's going to be it for episode 28 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. For the man, for the Merc Zone, I am the Mouth of Michigan, a.k.a. the champ, Rob Mendyka. And we will see you guys, as always, next time.